Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to talk to you about dolphins in captivity and just my whole opinion on that. So the 1st of September is the beginning of the dolphin hunts in Japan, specifically on Taiji, Japan, where that's the largest slaughter of dolphins in the world. Every year in Japan, about 23,000 dolphins are slaughtered. They're driven into the cove by fishermen on boats that they have on these long poles that go into the water, and then they bang on these metal poles and they basically create this wall of sound which literally petrifies the dolphins, sends them running for their lives into the direction that the fishermen heard them in, which is essentially towards this cove. And once they're in this cove, they net it off with 2 or 3 nets, and they leave them there overnight, and then in the morning trainers will come down with the fishermen and they will select the prettiest, most attractive young dolphins. They're normally young females who look a lot like the original flipper, and after they've dragged them out of the water away from their families, they will slaughter the rest of them. And it is, if you haven't seen it, you really should need to watch this. It's horrible. It's one of the most disgusting things that you'll probably ever see, but if you don't understand what's happening and you don't see it, you're not going to believe it, and you're not going to be passionate enough about it to stop it. And if you go to places like SeaWorld or Borough Park or any dolphinarium around the world, then you're supporting this. And if you haven't seen this, then and you're still going to dolphinariums, then you need to see this, because you're not going to want to go back once you've looked at this horrific footage.
Recently, killing method has been improved substantially, and the fishermen in Taiji are using specific made knife and put it to the spine, and then most of the animals are killed instantly.
Killed instantly?
Yes.
And if they were killed other than this method, would that be cruel?
As I told you, I don't want to talk about if stories.
Okay, I want to show you some video that I just saw.
When and where did you take this?
Every year between September 1st to April, thousands and thousands of dolphins will be slaughtered, and I would say the unlucky ones are the ones that are picked for captivity, because at least once they've been slaughtered in the cove, it's their life, their suffering is over. The dolphins that have been selected for captivity will have not only watched from shore, because they're just laying on the shore while they're getting ready to send them off wherever they're going to go. They're watching their family members be killed, and then they're going to go to some park. It could be like a traveling dolphin circus, it could be the Taiji Whale Museum, and they could probably end up somewhere like SeaWorld or whatever, who will indirectly get dolphins from this place, because once they've gone through different parks, that doesn't count as a Taiji dolphin anymore. That counts as the park that the dolphin came from. So even in places like SeaWorld would say, oh, we don't get dolphins from Taiji, you can't guarantee that, because that dolphin could have gone from a park to another park to another park, and these dolphins get swapped around and bought and sold and traded like baseball cards. So but once they're there in this captivity, they're in prison. They've got life imprisonment. It's like you being sentenced for murder for a crime that you never did, and that's what they have to do. They have to live in concrete tanks, in swimming pools, which are it's a cell. It's the same as if you were in a cell. It's just a box, and where the echolocation is constantly bouncing off. There's chemicals in the water, where they have to just eat dead fish and whatever fish they're given, where they end up getting depressed and viruses and all these other things, so they're on constant medication to keep them going. And because they're under all this stress, and because they have to perform, and then normally they have loud music, you have people screaming and shouting and people banging on the glass, you have photos being taken all the time, flashing fireworks, all these stuff that comes along with being at an amusement park. And then on top of that, they have to live with each other, and they're so stressed, and they don't know each other, sometimes they might not even understand each other, and they will fight, they will bully each other, they will do all these really unnatural behaviours, because in the wild they can get away from each other. If they want to have an argument, the dolphin who's like on the losing end can go, okay, I'm going to leave, I'm going to go this way for a while and I'll come back later or whatever. In captivity they don't have that option, so the losing dolphin is going to be constantly being beat up because he can't get away or she can't get away. So there's this very aggressive, these dolphins are very, very aggressive, and you see it in orcas or killer whales, that they're a lot more aggressive. In the wild, orcas don't act like this. They're not aggressive animals. They're hunters, but they're within their own species, they're not aggressive. And in the wild, they've never harmed a human ever. There's never been a documented case where a human has been harmed by or attacked by a wild orca. Yet, in captivity, there has been 4 deaths, all by SeaWorld killer whales, and 3 of them while at SeaWorld Park. And 2 of those were 2 of SeaWorld's top trainers. One of them was in SeaWorld Orlando, and the other one was in Loro Parque, which all the killer whales over there are owned by SeaWorld, and the trainers there were trained by SeaWorld trainers. So, if this captivity was so good for them, then why are they so aggressive? Why are humans being killed? This doesn't happen in the wild, and it's not because humans don't come in contact with them in the wild. They do all the time. Scientists swim with them. They regularly go up to beaches where people are. People kayak with them. I mean, if killer whales wanted to get people, they would in the wild, and we wouldn't be swimming in the sea with them. So there's definitely this hyper-aggression in captive orcas and dolphins in general that you just don't see in the wild. And all this stress and all this aggression and everything else, the bad water, the bad food, everything about their lives just cuts it short, and they will normally die of pneumonia or some other disease from their immune systems being so low that they can't fight diseases, and they just end up living on medication until their body gives out, basically. And I think that is a worse fate than the death in the cove, because at least in the cove it's done. In captivity this could last for weeks, it could last for months, it could last for a few years. So if you really want to help to end this slaughter, you need to stop going to these parks, because these parks are buying these dolphins from places like Taiji, and they might get a few £100 or a few $100s or whatever from a dead dolphin that they're going to sell for meat. They'll get a few $100,000 for a dolphin that's going to go into the captivity trade, because that's a show animal. That animal is going to bring in, millions of dollars in revenue over the years of its life. So if you want to really help these animals in Taiji, then the first thing you can do is just don't go to a park. Just don't buy a ticket, and encourage everybody that you know to not go to these places and to watch documentaries like The Cove and Blackfish, because they really do tell the truth about these amusement parks. The other thing you can do if you want to help out is you can go to dolphinproject.net and you can see all the different things that they're doing, what the Dolphin Project is about. And the Dolphin Project was founded by Rick O'Barry, who was the original trainer for the original series Flipper, where he trained the dolphin who played Flipper, her name was Kathy. And he actually lived in the Flipper house and would watch the Flipper TV show with Kathy. And when the Flipper TV series ended, they all went back to the Miami Sea Aquarium, and Kathy got really, really depressed. And one day she got so depressed that she swam into Rick's arms and she committed suicide. And I know that this is not a term that is generally used for animals, but dolphins are not automatic air breathers like us. They have to consciously decide when they're going to breathe, the same way we have to consciously decide when we're going to hold our breath. And if life gets too difficult for them, they simply won't take that breath. They will just stop. And that's what she did. She went into Rick's arms and she sunk a little bit down and she just wouldn't take another breath, and she died. And after that day, Rick O'Barry was arrested the next day for trying to free the dolphins, and he has been doing that ever since. And right now they have a group of people every year staying in Japan, in Taiji, filming the Taiji Dolphin Drive. From September to April, they are there before the sun rises. They're there all day. They get horrendous abuse from the fishermen. They're there in all weathers. I mean, there was tsunami there one year, and they were there. They're there all the time. And Rick's funds this. And if you really want to help him and help the dolphins and help keep the word getting out there, because that's what we need. We need the word to get out there. We need the people of Japan to see this, because they don't know about it. So if you really want to help them, you can donate to his to the Dolphin Project. I'll post a link in the description below so that you guys can go there and donate to him. The people in Japan don't know this is happening, so please don't think that this is all Japanese people are bad or all Asian people are bad. It's not like that. This is a very small group of people that are doing this. This is like 50 or so fishermen that are doing this. Most Japanese people have never heard of it. If you go to the big cities, they're going to be like, would never even think that we would eat dolphin over here. So don't believe that, and just don't hate all Japanese people, because it's not them. And to a certain extent, it's not even the fishermen's fault. It's the government's fault. The government are feeding the fishermen the wrong information, and the fishermen are just only doing what they think is right when they're not being told. It's the government that we need to change. So you can do simple things like writing letters and joining protests like the one that we were on September 1st. Just join the Dolphin Project's Facebook page, Rick O'Barry's Facebook page, and just keep looking out for any events that he's doing, because the more people that show up to these events, the more the Japanese government are going to realize that the world is seeing this and that it's not making them look good. And that's what the Japanese people don't want. They don't want the world to see what they're doing in Japan. They don't want people to know that they're slaughtering 23,000 dolphins every single year. They want people to think that these places like SeaWorld and the Taiji Dolphin Museum are these great places that they go to because they're making money off it. They don't want people to know that they're actually causing the death of thousands and thousands of dolphins.